Listen up, Earth Angels. The source of your wealth is closer than you think. Throughout human history, most of us have spent a, an enormous amount of time, energy, effort, resources seeking out, finding some source of wealth, a wealth of wisdom, knowledge, resources, financial wealth. And I'm here to tell you that the actual source of your wealth is way closer than you think. And this is not just something that I just figured out, some new thing I figured out in the year 2026. No, this is something that some of our greatest minds and mystics figured out centuries ago. And I'm going to share it with you today, okay? So, stick around. Let me introduce myself. I'm Sheba. Hello. I'm a transformation specialist, sovereignty coach, and ex lawyer, and I empower women, leaders, and creators to unleash their true selves, walk in purpose as divine disruptors, and create the life of their dreams. So, I got to tell you about this. The source of your success is way closer than you think. And yeah, I realized this by reading this poem by Rumi. I don't know if you've heard of Rumi, but he is a Persian poet from like the 13th century. And he's one of the greatest, most best-selling poets in the world. He also started the like religious order that does like the whirling dervishes. It's a form of Sufi mysticism and like religious ecstasy. How cool. Anyway, he wrote so many great poems. One of the poems that he wrote really resonated with me when I first heard of it. And as the years have gone by, I keep coming back to this Rumi poem. And I'm going to share it with you today. Maybe you'll see why it resonates with me so much. But I think it resonates with everyone. So, the poem is called Sheba's Hesitation. Oh! Okay, Sheba's Hesitation by Rumi. Lovers of God, sometimes a door opens and a human being becomes a way for grace to come through. I see various herbs in the garden, each with its own bed. Garlic, capers, saffron, and basil, each watered differently to help it mature. We keep the delicate ones separate from the turnips, but there's room for all in this unseen world, so vast that the Arabian desert gets lost in it, like a single hair in the ocean. Imagine that you are Sheba, deciding whether to go to Solomon. You're haggling about how much to pay for shoeing a donkey when you could be seated with one who is always in union with God, who carries a beautiful garden inside himself. You could be moving in a circuit without wing, nourished without eating, sovereign without a throne. No longer subject to fortune, you could be luck itself. If you would rise from sleep, leave the market arguing, and learn that your own essence is your wealth. Oh, okay, Rumi, 13th century poet, writing a poem, calling me by name, and kind of describing the problem that I would face, the dilemma I would come upon all these many centuries after he wrote this poem. And I know it calls me by name, but the message still works for everyone. We spend all of this time trying to figure out how to get the money and the logistics of how to, find out the wise man who's got the information on how to get the info from God. And babe, it's you. I always thought of the story of the Queen of Sheba as kind of a tragedy, honestly. She is this wealthy, wise queen, and she's already independently wealthy. But for some reason, she feels the need to go travel a great distance to Jerusalem and see about this wise man she's heard about. Now, first of all, leaving your house to travel somewhere to find a man for wisdom of all things, first mistake. And yeah, she was already independently wealthy. And so she goes to Solomon. She, gives him some quizzes, deems him very smart, though I don't know. I think she was probably just being nice. And then she comes back pregnant, no husband, and, still her kingdom. And I guess in a patriarchal, colonial kind of way, her having this child with this king is supposed to be the awesome thing. But I don't know. My girl was already independently wealthy. She was already a wealthy, wise, beautiful queen. So why did she have to leave her house? When, as Rumi pointed out, she leaves her palace to go into the marketplace to haggle with some dude about how much to put some shoes on a donkey to take her to see some guy when she could be seated with the one who is always in union with God, which is her. She could be with the one who carries a beautiful garden within herself. She doesn't have to go all the way to Palestine to talk to Solomon, to learn about wisdom, to learn about God. She was already a sovereign, but she kind of got out of her power by like literally leaving her palace and going to ask someone else about the wisdom of the universe. Unnecessary. Your own essence is your wealth. So a lot of times you might go and seek out different teachers, different people who have the wisdom that you allegedly lack. But all the power you seek lives in you. All the knowledge, all the wisdom is already within you. And so no one is ever telling you anything you don't know. The reason like you are able to accept it and receive it is because it resonates with you, because it's something that you already know, something past your logical mind, something more precise, more brilliant than your logical mind knows. And so, the coolest thing about you, the source of your wealth is not going to be like how well you can follow someone else's direction, or, how well you can, explain yourself to someone else, and then they'll give you what they think your value is worth. No, babe, your essence is your wealth. It's the X factor. It's beyond modern day comprehension. And I think that might be kind of hard, but why you might struggle sometimes to remember that it's you. Your essence is the wealth. So you might go through seasons where you forget, and then you go out seeking. You go out finding mentors or teachers, or you'll ask a bunch of people, or you'll you'll be like, let me take another class and things, and it's already you. Your uniqueness, your authenticity, that voodoo that you do, babe, that only you can do, that can't be taught. And yeah, like I found for like there's periods where I'll be like before I found my current business mentorship group, I was looking for the answer. I was looking for different readers or counselors or teachers or just a listening ear who could tell me what my next step was supposed to be, how I was supposed to unlock my next level of wealth. And it didn't matter how, experienced or whatever the external sources I was seeking were. It didn't matter what their qualifications were. Because all along, the answer was within me. They could say the perfect thing. They could be, oh, you do this, and then you go to this person, and then you do this. But I knew it wasn't it. I knew ultimately it was me. So let me save you a lot of money, okay? Let me save you a lot of effort. You're going to be tempted to seek outside of yourself for the answers, for the solutions, for someone else to save you, to swoop in and give you this wealth. And on some level that might happen. But ultimately you're the source. And isn't it like water always flows back to the source? So you are the source of the abundance, and the abundance is going to come back to you. You're a self-sustaining source. And you do that by disconnecting from the market, get out of the noise of, the collective's energy, their fears, their opinions on how things work, and go within. I think earlier today I pulled the Hermit card. That's about withdrawing, being alone, and listening to your own inner voice, your own inner compass, going on this own spiritual journey, a spiritual enlightenment. You can be the one who's always in union with God. You can be the one who is no longer subject to fortune because you're luck itself. You create the wealth. You have access to the wisdom. You have access to the wealth. You don't have to go and pay somebody else to find it for you. Isn't that also the point of that book, The Alchemist? Sorry, spoiler alert. You should go read it anyway. But I'm pretty sure the name of the book is The Alchemist. The boy, he goes out and he goes on his like personal legend or whatever, and he's trying to find the alchemist. This guy who can, turn a worthless metal into something valuable. A worthless substance into something valuable. And so the boy, he goes on this big journey. He goes from somewhere and like travels across the land, and he ends up in Egypt. And I'm pretty sure the moral is that he is the alchemist. The journey to finding the alchemist, like on the journey to find the alchemist, he realized that it was him. He was the alchemist. So, similarly, on your journey to discover the source of your wealth, the source of the wisdom, the person who has the answers, the person who's going to save you. On the journey to find that, you're going to discover that it's you. It's your essence, babe. We love. All right. I delivered the message. So let me know what you think, okay? Like, comment, subscribe. If you'd like a personal reading or you want to get deeper and go all in with me, head on over to my website, seelikesheba.com, link in my bio. And yeah, go back and watch some of these episodes, babe, because they're all very brilliant. But we're definitely going to talk about this again because it's so key. Um, and, yeah, it's part of the reason why, how I became the woman who went from easily receiving $5,000 every month to effortlessly receiving $100,000 every single month. And that's because I learned that my essence is my wealth. Ah, easy. You can learn that too. All right. I love you so much. I see you. And I'll talk to you, Earth Angels, later. All right? Bye.